Well, after a full day of rain, it seems like the rain has finally subsided. And right there, wearing the classic Canadian tuxedo, is my pal Shannon. And down there is Rosie. And we are on our way to go see the abandoned Burwash Prison here in the ghost town of Burwash. I'm not really sure what is still standing here, but I know that the prison itself is still in one piece somewhat. So we are going to go check that out. Let's go. And as you drive along Burwash Farm Road, you will come across this plaque, which commemorates the history of the Burwash Industrial Farm, or what people now simply refer to as the Burwash Prison. Now, Burwash Industrial Farm was established in 1914 based on the revolutionary premise that low-risk inmates would benefit from the exercise and skills learned while working outdoors at self-supporting institutions. Though the prison itself we are visiting today wasn't actually built until 1958. By 1975, when the prison finally closed down for good, Burwash had amassed 35,000 acres of land, which is an absolutely astounding amount, and gives you just a hint of how isolated this place actually is. We were just driving down the access road to Bison Prison, and we came across this tree, and I'm not sure what this is or what these names represent, but I feel like they could be associated with the prison, so who knows? 50 some odd names up here on wooden plaques, so your guess is as good as mine as to what these represent. I would almost guess that they were associated with perhaps people who own cottages around here, but this is all private land, and there are no cottages around here. So, again, who knows? Pretty neat, though. And well, that's the end of the line for our car, so we had to ditch it when we came to the end of the dirt road, which met with these CN rail tracks. So it'll be all on foot from here on in for another few kilometers. So after parking our car off of the Burwash access road, we have come across our first obstacle, this little river, and we're going to try to figure out our way around. And I think Shannon's found her way across, so let's follow her lead. Hey Shannon, I have a question for you. Would you consider this Northern Ontario?
Yes. Yeah.
I guess anything north of Toronto is Northern Ontario, but do you think people of Killarney would consider this Northern Ontario?
Yeah, I do.
I
do think so.
Food for thought.
Food for thought.
So the only fear we have now is of bears coming out of there. We are pretty much in the middle of nowhere here. Wildlife County.
Our options is not too.
Yeah, so the forest here, where once there was a field on one side, now the forest is closing in on us, and it's getting a little bit real. We are, I don't know, I would assume that we are probably about a kilometer into our walk, and we probably have another kilometer to go into the forest to get to the prison. So we'll see if that prediction is accurate. Here's a question to all my fungi fanatics out there. Edible or poisonous? I'm going to go with poisonous. When in doubt, always go with the bright color. We have reached the point of forest walking that we are getting decimated by mosquitoes and trying to avoid tick bites. What is that?
Shaking them off.
No, but what do you got there? What is that?
Oh, it's the moth.
Off, yeah.
Full on, it's the DEET, the good stuff.
DEET is the, that's the master, that is the secret ingredient
That is the one you
of
want
bug
when you're
repellent.
dealing with ticks.
Yeah. I just wanted to stop and show you a little beaver dam in the swamp here. So we're getting close, and I can tell because there's this warning sign, and I will warn you that if you're planning to come to visit Camp Bison Prison, you must get written permission before coming here and expect to be charged $20 per head for upkeep of the land around the prison. So you'll be signing a waiver, a liability waiver, which says if you are hurt in any which way while visiting the prison, you will not sue the property owner. And we just passed those gates, and I guess that means we are very, very close to the Bison Prison. And in fact, I was just looking over here on my right, and right there are the remains of the ghost town that once stood here. I was led to believe that there was nothing left, but clearly you can see right in front of you that is not true. In the distance there, a few more remnants of the ghost town. And just over that hill stands or sits Skeleton Lake, perfectly befitting of a ghost town. Oh wow, and there she is, the Burwash Prison we've long been hoping to find. And it's almost shocking to see it sitting there in the middle of the field. A stark contrast to this vast natural environment enveloping it. Seeing this giant man-made behemoth after over 90 minutes of seeing nothing but trees, bushes, trees, and even more trees is, if I can put it into a word, humbling. And here's where prisoners would have checked into the old Bison Prison for unknown amounts of stay, indefinite to some. I'm not sure how many people actually died here, but a few prisoners perished by the hand of another, or perhaps just by natural causes. This is the plaque commemorating when this prison was built, 1958. And who built it? Ray O'Connell, the honorary James and Allen. And if we get even more specific, this place was built on October 23rd, 1958. And just on your right here is where prisoners would have had to sign in, probably turn over some personal items before their indefinite stays, and get a look inside the administrative wing of the Bison Prison. I'm still unsure if it's called the Bison Prison or the Burwash Prison. It seems to be pretty interchangeable whenever I look this stuff up. And this would have been an old guard bathroom. That's exactly where you would have checked in, right there. Where you would have signed pretty much your life away. How's that for a sight? Pretty cool. And one of the corridors holding the many cell blocks, many cells actually, for the prisoners. Not very big at all. And the toilet. Just tiny pieces of porcelain now in the cell. And over here, I'm not sure if that would have been the original bed frame that was here that helped house some of the inmates, or if that actually went over the window. It doesn't really matter now. Visiting the prison after a torrential downpour is not the smartest thing, flooding everywhere. So I suppose if you come here, wear some rain boots. Let's check out the view from this cell. Windows, minimum security prison, so the windows are much larger than they would have been had it been a maximum security prison. Not a bad view. It's one of the prison doors, just laying around, and a stairwell, and this creepy guy to greet you. Yikes. I wouldn't want to see that guy at night. To show you just how big this place is, there's yet another corridor of prison cells. An immense structure sitting here in the middle of the forest, just south of Sudbury. And as usual, I found some penis graffiti, which is a real epidemic in abandoned buildings. Just look at that guy riding that hog. And this is definitely not a prison cell. In fact, my best guess would be that it is probably an administrative office of some sort, or a guard sleeping quarters, but who knows? More views of the beautiful nature up here, just out the window. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm wearing a favorite, something that I often wear when I come up north. My deer shirt. Look at that face. He's so cute. And someone has left behind their wolf blanket. Who would leave behind something so cool? Here's a little history about this prison, officially named Camp Bison, a name originating from the numerous wildlife that had been known to roam the property. Although the complex was built in 1958, the prison didn't actually open until June 8th, 1960, and started with just 210 inmates. And this place even has a bit of Canadian music history attached to it, being that singer David Clayton Thomas, formerly of the band Blood, Sweat, and Tears, spent time at Camp Bison as a young offender, and I can't imagine that being incarcerated here made him oh so very happy. I guess you've got to be a Blood, Sweat, and Tears fan to get that joke. Okay, I think I've found the communal shower room. And that's where everyone would sit down to change out of their prison garb and have a shower here. There's some of the, where they would have put the soap. Pretty neat. And come on, what a view. Standing here having a soak, you get to look out onto this beautiful landscape and the other side of the prison. I'm not sure if any of the prisoners here who once were housed at this prison actually committed a crime that terrible, but still ironic nonetheless. Murder, murder. And if you look just outside this window, right down there is yet another remnant of the ghost town that once surrounded this place. You can see some, perhaps, squatters trying to make a home here before the current owners gave them the old boot. Who would have thought people would want to purposely stay in a prison? But that seems to be the case. So I just came upon this room, which I thought was just another cell, but it looks like someone has actually been living here. There's a full kitchen installed here. There's a propane gas stove, some bedding. So it definitely looks like somebody has been calling this place home. And who knows if they just come back at night when everyone else is gone, but it's definitely a little disturbing. So let's move on. There are no public bathrooms in this place, but I have found a toilet. So if you feel adventurous, you can do your duty in that. I'm going to pass though. And if you never brought any toilet paper for the toilet that I just showed you, look what I found. A little toilet paper roll on this old school toilet paper holder. I found the other communal shower area, and this one is in much worse condition, as you can see. But guess what's still in good condition? The soap holders. So that makes me a little happy. The Burwash Prison officially closed its doors for good on February 13th, 1975, after the Ontario Minister of Correctional Services deemed the cost to run the correctional center as too high, and that outdated equipment would be costly to replace, and ultimately closing the facility down would save the provincial government money. Residents of the 175 town site townhouses were told they'd have to vacate their homes, some remains of which I showed you earlier, leading to the surrounding ghost town. And there's the old generator building that would have provided power to this entire prison. And my first guess was that this area was a gym, but now that I'm seeing all these stoves and various pantries just on the side here. I'm guessing that this might have actually been a dining hall of some sort. I guess that makes much more sense than a gym. In fact, this whole area might have been used as the kitchen to feed all of the hundreds of prisoners that were housed here. So as far as keeping the prisoners in shape, there's more than enough property surrounding this place that they could have just gone outside. And this would have been the loading dock that would have brought material, food, and general resources to the prison. And I found the elevator shaft. Let's take a peek in there. Just to show you what kind of cretins and real scourge of the earth have been visiting this prison over the years. Badass. Some old ovens. Still sitting here. I mean, they look like ovens to me. So I'm gonna have to look this up later. Yes, they are Pendrith Bacomat. And I'll have to look at what year those are from. Interesting to see that they're still here. Live, love, laugh. Words to live by, love by, and, well, have a hearty laugh by. Well, we're going to head up to the second floor. Although, I'm very curious about the basement. We will get to that shortly. Another vast area. Leaking roof. And I wasn't sure what the purpose of this room would have been, but now that I look back here with the big stage, this is probably where all the prisoners were entertained. They would have been somewhat having a good time and killed the time. Another room whose purpose I am completely clueless about. Right here is a little administrative office of some sort. So again, if you know anything more about this prison than I do, please let me know in the comments below. There they are, making their way. Well, the other possibility Shannon just enlightened me to is the fact that perhaps this was used for church services, this room, rather than entertainment. As she pointed out to me, I don't think they were putting on musicals for each other. I found this lying around, and I'm not sure if it is from a switchboard, and perhaps it's how people communicated with the prison back in the day. There's a name on it here. Mason and Rish Limited. On the second floor, and even more prison cells. And the prison cells here seem, at this point, unlimited. So, and it looks like we found the solitary confinement rooms with the metal doors metal prison cell in there. And what is that? It's a giant penis. You just can't escape them in here. Not even in solitary confinement. And this is how they would have checked on the prisoners. They would have opened up this slat and peeked in through the windows here to see what was going on. So we're going to head on up to the roof. So this is probably a part of the prison that prisoners would not have had access to back in the day. And this would have been, actually, this would have been a guard post. And they could have looked down and observed. Looks like a 2 or 3 person job, but they could have observed the prisoners coming and going through these hallways just to make sure that the rules were being followed and that nobody was stepping out of line. And what a view of the prison and the surrounding landscape. Just over there, straight ahead, that edge of rock is actually the Canadian Shield. Just nothing but forest surrounding us here. Well, I've been avoiding it, but heck, since I'm here, let's check out the basement. Shannon did not want to come, and that's fine. We'll take a little brief peek. Not really sure what those are. Probably just some old stools here against the wall. Creepy, but not as creepy as usual. Although, and this is probably where they would have stored the weaponry of the prison, behind these gates. All right. And here's a view of the old giant generators that would have powered this entire place back in the day. Just massive structures. And you really got to watch your step around here, that you don't fall into the abyss down there or over there. Just see where maintenance would have walked over to make sure that everything was working properly every single day. And you can imagine that if they ever lost power to this place, it would have been a real problem considering how remote it is. More old machinery. This actually looks like an old engine. Perhaps this was the lever It says on. No way to turn it off now. Trip. Nothing. Alternate supply. Another view of the inner workings of the power room here. Pretty awesome stuff that they would have shipped this in from very far away, probably via rail, and then installed it. Pretty cool. The ingenuity of man, once again at play. Well, that was a very close call. I've been preaching about being safe here, and I actually stepped right onto this, and boink, that leads to nowhere good. Got to keep your eyes open at all times here. Well, that concludes our visit to the Burwash/Bison prison, abandoned in the late 70s. And, well, there's a whole lot more we could have checked out here, but we've been here for quite a few hours and we're pretty tired. So for now, it is Obscurist Tourist wishing you well, and until next time. See you later. Bye, Shannon.